Let's dive into the individual systems, starting with the fuel system. I want to highlight here that we are now specifically talking about the CFM 56 Phi Bravo series. Although the other engines, such as the new engine option, the LEAP 1 Alpha, are very similar, you should refer to the appropriate manual for the specifications for the engine on the aircraft you're flying. Let's take a closer look at the fuel system. When fuel is delivered from the fuel tanks, they are delivered from the inner tanks through the fuel feed line right here via the booster pumps. The fuel first passes through the low pressure shutoff valve. The low pressure shutoff valve is operated by the engine master switches as well as the fire push button for that engine. That means if the fire push button is pushed and released out, it shuts off the fuel flow to the entire engine. Doing so isolates fuel to the engine at the pylon, because that particular shutoff valve is located inside the pylon for this engine. So even if the engine is greatly damaged and you have a fuel leak, shutting off this particular shutoff valve from the engine fire push button should isolate the fuel flow, trying to preserve the fuel we have left in that tank so it doesn't leak out. When the fuel passes through the low pressure shutoff valve, it then passes into the low pressure fuel pump. The low pressure fuel pump is an engine driven fuel pump. And you may have noticed here on the schematic, I have both a low pressure pump and a high pressure fuel pump. These two pumps are both engine driven. They are not the ones that I talked about in the fuel system where we covered fuel pumps. The fuel pumps here are engine driven. The ones we talked about in fuel systems were electrically driven booster pumps located inside the fuel tank itself. When the fuel passes through the low pressure pump here, it is divided into two flows. One flow is responsible for the fuel recirculation. So it passes here and straight back down to the tank. The recirculation of the fuel is specific for the aircraft, but for the 320, it will come to the outer wing tank, and if that is full, into the inner tank. The other part of the flow flows to the engine for engine combustion, but it does more than just that, and it needs to pass through a couple of stages before it does so. From here, it passes through the fuel-cooled oil cooler, where we use the cold fuel to cool the hot oil in the engine. The FCOC is responsible for ensuring the temperature of the fuel does not go below the waxing or freezing point, ensuring constant fuel flow to the engines, as well as for the cold fuel to cool the hot engine oil. When the fuel has done its heat exchanging, it then passes through a suction filter before it passes into the high pressure engine driven fuel pump. The high pressure pump here ensures that the fuel now has the correct pressure, not just for the fuel spray nozzles, but also to operate the hydromechanical unit, the HMU. I will come back to the HMU and the servo fuel heater in just a minute. The fuel flow passes from the fuel pump through a fuel metering valve to the high pressure shutoff valve. The high pressure shutoff valve is operated by the engine master switches. So that means when you operate the engine master switches for engine start and engine shutdown, you're closing both the low pressure and the high pressure fuel shutoff valves, ensuring fuel is trapped somewhere within the engine, but that is to ensure fuel is ready for next engine start. The fuel then goes through the fuel flow meter, which gives us fuel flow indications on the ECAM, and then is delivered to the fuel spray nozzles within that particular engine. The fuel from the high pressure pump is always exceeding the maximum fuel that can be delivered to the engine at any given time, or be used by the engine at any given time. The remaining fuel, or the excess fuel that is taken through the pump, goes through a bypass valve through the IDG cooling to ensure cooling of the IDG oil, and then splits into a recirculating pattern which goes back into the fuel line and kind of completes a circuit like this, or goes back to the fuel tank. This flow divides based on the amount of fuel that is used in this part of the fuel flow system. But a large portion of fuel is continuously recirculated back to the tank, which, as you can see here, has been through not just one, but two heat exchanging stages, allowing for hot fuel to go back to the outer wing tank, to the inner wing tank, and that ensures we don't have waxing or freezing of the fuel, flying at very low temperatures outside. The fuel, when taken from the high pressure pump, also goes in to operate a lot of moving parts in the engine hydraulically. Remember, hydraulics was just using high pressure fluid to make something mechanical work. In this case, we're talking about the mechanical parts in the engine. The fluid goes first through a washer filter, then through a servo fuel heater, which is the second part of my fuel cooled oil cooler right here. And it goes into a static flow, if you will, where it just provides high pressure fluid to the actuators for example, variable stator vanes, high pressure turbine clearance control, low pressure turbine active clearance control, rotor active clearance control, as well as variable bleed valves. All these are moving parts in the engine that requires pressurized fluid to operate them, and we might as well take the high pressure fuel that is already available rather than taking hydraulic fluid from another system and put it inside the engine.